Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. This is Fun Day Monday or Monday Fun Day. And this is Monday Morning Mindset. And what is mindset and why does it matter? So, mindset is a combination of our thoughts and our feelings that impress into our subconscious and into our bodies and affect every single action in our day. And so, it's critically important. And so, our mindset oil today is cistus, the oil of cistus. And this oil is more commonly known as maybe Rose of Sharon or rock rose. It's the same oil. And so I want you to take a drop of this oil in your hand. Just take a drop of the oil. It has a nice earthy color. Smooth your palms together. Take a deep inhalation of that. And this oil, it was actually the sheep herders that found this oil. And they found it's like a little shrubby, scrubby bush that grows in the rocky hills. And so when the sheep herders would be shearing the sheep and they would get cuts in their hand, and this oil would be stuck in, or it's kind of a sticky resin in the sheep's wool. And when that got into their cuts, it actually healed them. Took out the sting, stopped the bleeding. And so it was them that actually discovered this oil. It's a very pungent oil. We want to take deep breath, hold it at the peak of your breath so that it actually gets right into the olfactory, into the amygdala, into our memory center, so that it helps us with all kinds of memory. And so what memory, what emotion, that's the emotional cortex. As we take that deep breath in, it's getting into the emotional cortex. So what emotion is it that we want help with the rock rose or cistus or the Rose of Sharon, as more commonly known? So actually, this is an oil that helps with, well, let me ask you this. Have you ever been rescued or felt like you needed rescued, or are you a rescuer that when you see somebody in need, you feel like it's your responsibility to go and rescue them? Or you spend your life often in a situation where you don't know what to do and you feel like you need to be rescued. So this is an oil that takes us out of that emotional. It's actually a feeling of inability to actually perform at our highest. And so it often, if you're a rescuer, it's like there's a need within us that we need the accolade of rescuing somebody. We need the feeling of, and if we're one, we're usually the other. If we feel like rescuing somebody, and this isn't a good or bad thing, it's simply a notice that when we're in this state, we're not performing at our highest potential. And it comes from the feeling of insecurity and needing recognition. And so what's the other side of that? The other side of that is being solid and rooted and grounded in the knowingness that you have whatever you need, that you are whatever you need, that you're in a state of completeness, that whatever it is that you need is going to be provided, and that it's actually already here because there's nothing new under the sun. And we just simply need to recognize it. And so cistus really brings us into that feeling of simply knowingness that we have what we need, we have what it takes. And it also puts us into a situation, instead of being a rescuer, to be a person that pays it forward. And that's the other side of the rescuer. And so I have a really cool story in regards to this. And it says that one day a man saw an elderly lady stranded on the side of the road, and he pulled up in front of her Mercedes and got out to help her. And even as he approached the car, he could see that she was afraid that someone was going to hurt her or that she was in this difficult situation of being vulnerable. And so he said to her, "I'm here to help you, ma'am. Why don't you get inside your car where it's warm and wait in there?" And then he said, "By the way, my name is Brian Anderson." And so all she had was a flat tire. And so Brian crawled under the car looking for a place to put the jack, skinning his knuckles a time or two. It was raining and miserable out. He was getting all dirty, but soon he got the tire changed. And he was tightening up the lug nuts. The lady rolled down the window and began to talk to him, telling him that she was feeling much more comfortable now and how much she appreciated his help, that she was from St. Louis and was only passing through the area and was so thankful he came to her aid. And Brian just smiled and closed her trunk, and the lady asked how much she owed him. Any amount would be all right with her because she was so grateful. But Brian never thought twice about getting paid for helping her out. He just simply said, "If you really want to pay me back, the next time you see someone in need, then you go help them. And you could give that person some assistance that they need. And when you do it, think of me." And so she wasn't used to this type of activity. And a few miles down the road, the lady saw a small cafe, and still feeling a bit bewildered, she went in to grab a bite to eat, to take the chill off her bones, and before she was on the last leg of her trip home. And the waitress came over and brought a clean towel to wipe off her wet hair, and as she had been standing out in the rain waiting for someone to stop and help her. And she was so sweet. And the elderly lady noticed that this waitress was about 9 months pregnant. This is a true story, by the way. And yet she never allowed her aches and pains or the strain of her pregnancy to change her attitude. And the old lady wondered how that she could be so kind to a stranger. And then she remembered Brian and him fixing the tire. And so the lady finished her meal and she paid with $100 bill. And the waitress quickly went to get change for the money. But when she came back, the elderly lady had slipped out the door and she was gone. And the waitress wasn't sure what to do, but then she noticed a small note written on the napkin. And there were tears in her eyes as she read what the lady had written. "You don't owe me anything. I have been there too. Someone helped me out once the way I'm helping you. If you really want to pay me, here is what you do. Do not let the chain of love end with you." And under the napkin was another $400 bills. And so the waitress went ahead and she cleaned the tables and she filled the sugar bowls and she served the rest of the people, and she made it through her day. And that night when she got home from work, she climbed into bed and she was thinking about the money and about the note that the lady had written. And how could that lady have known how much her and her husband needed it? With the baby due next month, it was going to be hard to pay all the bills without her being able to work. And she knew how worried her husband was. And as he lay sleeping next to her, she gave him a soft kiss and whispered, soft and low, "Everything is going to be all right. I love you, Brian Anderson." Isn't that a cute story? And this is how we pay it forward instead of being in the rescuer or needing rescued mode. It's this inside solidity of knowing, recognizing, seeing, and being able to be in the place of knowingness, and we can pay it forward in so many ways. So get out your oil of cistus today. Use it throughout your day, throughout your week, and notice if you ever go into rescuer mode and how much more empowering it is to go into paying it forward. Have an absolutely fantastic, wonderful week, and we shall see you next week. And if this is helpful, please go ahead and subscribe, hit subscribe and share so other people can also learn some of these cool little ways to enhance our lives with our oils. Bye for now.